Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a piece of land, smaller than many cities you know. You could drive from one end to the other in just a few hours. Now imagine that this small piece of land has been fought over, destroyed, and rebuilt more times than almost anywhere else on earth. 3 of the world's biggest religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, all call it sacred. All believe it belongs to them. All have shed blood for it across thousands of years. And today, this same land is at the center of one of the most painful, most discussed, and most misunderstood conflicts in the modern world. Most people argue about it, but very few people actually know the full story of how it got here. So today, we go back, all the way back, 5,000 years of one land, one story, and the people who never stopped fighting for it. Welcome to PastPortals, where we learn English through history, one story at a time. Subscribe right now. Let's begin. Our story starts in a land called Canaan. This was the ancient name for the region we now call Israel and Palestine. It sat perfectly at the crossroads of 3 continents, Africa, Asia, and Europe. Every great empire that ever rose had to pass through this land, which meant every great empire eventually wanted to own it. Around 2000 BC, a group of people called the Hebrews arrived here. According to their sacred texts, a man named Abraham made a covenant with God. Covenant means a deep sacred promise, and in that promise, this land was given to his descendants forever. That one promise, made 4,000 years ago, still echoes today. But the Hebrews did not stay long. A terrible famine, a time when crops fail and food disappears, pushed them south into Egypt. And in Egypt, something devastating happened. They became slaves. For hundreds of years, the Hebrew people worked as slaves under the Egyptian pharaoh, building cities, building monuments, building a civilization that was not their own. Then came Moses, a Hebrew man raised inside the Egyptian royal palace. When he discovered the truth about his people and what was being done to them, he could not look away. He led them out, through the desert, toward the land of their ancestors. This journey is called the Exodus. And after 40 years of wandering, the Hebrew people returned to Canaan. But Canaan was no longer empty. Other people lived there now. And a long, painful struggle for the land began. This pattern, arriving, fighting, losing, and returning, would repeat itself in this land for the next 4,000 years. Around 1000 BC, a young shepherd boy named David killed a giant warrior named Goliath with nothing but a stone and a sling. That story became one of the most famous ever told. Even today, when a small, weak person defeats a powerful enemy, we call it a David and Goliath moment. David became the greatest king his people ever had. He conquered Jerusalem, a hilltop city that would become the most contested piece of land in history, and made it his capital. His son Solomon built the first temple there, the holiest place in the Jewish world. For one brief golden moment, this kingdom was strong, united, and at peace. But it did not last. The kingdom split. Enemies sensed weakness. The Babylonians came, destroyed Solomon's temple completely, and took the Hebrew people as prisoners to Babylon. The temple was gone. The city was gone. The people were gone, but something survived: their identity, their stories, their belief that they would return. And they did. Decades later, the Persian king Cyrus freed all captive peoples and allowed them to go home. The Hebrew people returned. They rebuilt their temple. They rebuilt their city. But peace was still not waiting. The Greeks came, then the Romans. In 70 AD, after a Jewish rebellion against Roman rule, Roman General Titus destroyed the Second Temple. Only one wall remained standing. That wall still stands today. It is called the Western Wall. Jewish people from all over the world come to press their hands against its ancient stones and pray. Rome then renamed the land Palestina, deliberately choosing a name connected to old enemies of the Jewish people, to erase their connection to it. And then Rome scattered the Jewish people across the entire empire. This scattering is called the diaspora, the spreading of a people away from their homeland. For nearly 2,000 years, the Jewish people lived without a country of their own, in Europe, in North Africa, in the Middle East, carrying their language, their stories, and their memory of Jerusalem wherever they went. And wherever they went, they faced hatred and violence. But they did not disappear. Centuries passed. The land changed hands many times. In the 7th century, Arab Muslim armies swept across the region. Jerusalem, holy to Muslims because of Prophet Muhammad's night journey connected to this city, was taken peacefully by Caliph Umar in 637. Then came the Crusades, Christian armies from Europe fighting to take Jerusalem back. 2 centuries of brutal religious warfare, blood on every stone of this ancient city. Eventually, the Ottoman Empire controlled the land for 400 years. And for most of this time, Muslim Arabs, Christian Arabs, and a small Jewish community all lived there together. But in Europe, a storm was quietly building. In the late 1800s, a Jewish journalist named Theodor Herzl was watching something deeply disturbing. Anti-Semitism, hatred of Jewish people, was spreading across Europe in a new, organized, dangerous form. Jewish people were being attacked, discriminated against, and killed simply for existing. Herzl reached one conclusion: Jewish people would never be truly safe unless they had a country of their own. He called this idea Zionism, and Jewish people began moving to Palestine, buying land, building communities. 2 peoples, 1 small land, a collision becoming impossible to avoid. Then came World War I. The Ottoman Empire collapsed. Britain took control of Palestine. And in 1917, Britain made a promise in one short letter called the Balfour Declaration, supporting a Jewish homeland in Palestine, while also promising to protect the rights of the Arab population already living there. 1 letter, 2 promises, almost impossible to keep at the same time. Both sides read it and believed it was written for them. Then the Holocaust happened. Between 1941 and 1945, Nazi Germany systematically murdered 6 million Jewish people. 2 out of every 3 Jewish people in Europe were killed. After the Holocaust ended, the world looked at the survivors, people who had lost everything, and the question became impossible to ignore. Where do these people go? Most survivors wanted only one thing: the land their ancestors came from, the land they had prayed toward for 2,000 years. In 1947, the United Nations proposed a plan: divide Palestine into two states, one Jewish, one Arab. The Jewish leadership accepted. The Arab leadership rejected it. On May 14, 1948, David Ben-Gurion stood up and declared the birth of the State of Israel. The next morning, 5 Arab armies invaded, a country one day old, fighting for survival against 5 nations simultaneously. Against every expectation, Israel survived. But the war created a wound that never fully healed. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinian Arabs fled or were forced from their homes. They became refugees, people with no home, no country, nowhere to return. This event is called the Nakba, meaning catastrophe in Arabic. It is the defining tragedy of Palestinian national identity. Two peoples, both with real pain, both with real history, both with a claim to the same land. The wars did not stop. In 1967, in just 6 days, Israel fought and defeated Egypt, Jordan, and Syria simultaneously, capturing large territories including the West Bank and Gaza. The world was stunned, but capturing land brings new problems, new responsibilities, new conflicts, and the question of what to do with those territories has driven war, negotiation, terrorism, and tragedy every single decade since. The story is still unfolding. Right now, today, my friends, we traveled 5,000 years together in just a few minutes. From Abraham's ancient promise, to Egyptian slavery, to King David, to Roman destruction, to 2,000 years of exile, to the Holocaust, to the birth of a modern nation, to wars and refugees and a conflict the world cannot look away from. This story has no clean ending, because it has not ended. But here is what I want you to carry with you. History is never simple. Every conflict that looks black and white from a distance becomes deeply, painfully human when you get close enough to see the faces on both sides. The Jewish people's connection to this land survived thousands of years of suffering. That is real. The Palestinian people's pain, displacement, and desire for home, that is also real. Both things are true at the same time. Understanding is always more powerful than anger. And the world needs more people who understand. If PastPortals helped you see even one small piece of this story more clearly today, subscribe so you never miss the next journey. And comment one word below. Just write land. It tells me this story reached you. Take care, keep learning, keep asking questions. Goodbye for now. From PastPortals.